Have you ever wondered why people who live isolated in tribes, far away from Western cultures, don't have hair loss problems? Well, if you worry about balding, it's extremely important you know what's your hair loss pattern. Take a good look at the chart below. Do you find yourself in any of the situations above? Then there's something you need to know today. Despite what you've been led to believe, the root cause of balding and hair thinning has absolutely nothing to do with your age, your hormones, or genetics. And it's not about how stressed you are or how healthy your lifestyle is either. Instead, as a groundbreaking experiment from the University of California, San Francisco, they've proven that the real cause of hair loss has everything to do with something deeply disturbing lurking inside every cell of your scalp at this very moment. Something that looks like this. And once you discover what it is, you'll have the power to rescue your thinning scalp and restore a full head of youthful hair, going from this to this. Now, no matter if you've been dealing with hair loss for years or just a couple of months, no matter if you're 20, 50, or 70 years old, or if you've tried hundreds of shampoos, pills, or tips and tricks without finding any success, this natural, safe method that has been kept secret by a legendary monk who, according to the New York Times, lived to be 256 years old, can help you grow a jungle of thick, luscious hair. You won't have to put on your scalp oily, toxic solutions, or pay a single red cent on useless shampoos and foul-smelling potions. It's absolutely crucial that you stick with me until the very end of my story while you still have the chance, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep this presentation online. See, the hair loss industry is worth $3.2 billion in the US alone. These people are perfectly happy to shatter your physical and mental health, trying to make you think their crazy chemical-filled treatments and overly expensive foams are the only solution out there, especially when doing that makes them so rich and famous. I mean, honestly, if all of these things really worked, Americans would all have supermodel hair by now. It's only logical they're scared that my method can put them out of business overnight. See, they don't want you confident, showing off your strong, thick hair. They want to keep you a customer for life, desperate to get your hands on whatever new wonder serum they advertise. Know that what you're going through is real, and it needs immediate attention. So please keep listening, because this information could save your looks, your health, and your sex life. In the next 5 minutes, you'll find out the 3 popular hair treatments that are an absolute waste of your money, no matter how much experts recommend. Now hint, one of them only creates very expensive urine, and it doesn't even reach your hair. How a medically acclaimed solution led to half of my hair gone overnight. Why there is no such thing as genetic hair loss, and why officials are doing everything to hide the truth. Scientists have never discovered a baldness gene. The strange residue that's been found in the body of balding men and women that researchers believe is the real reason why people living in developed countries are losing their hair. And the clinically proven, simple 10-second ancient method that you can use starting today to successfully grow healthy hair day after day, while boosting your libido, energy, and taking care of your digestive system and blood sugar levels, along with all the studies and tests that prove how it works. Imagine ditching all the embarrassment your hair loss has ever caused you, all the insecurities, the self-consciousness whenever you're talking with somebody else. Never having to fear about being rejected because it makes you older or funny looking. Never having to see how your spouse loses interest in sex because they don't find you attractive anymore. And never having to hear crude nicknames like Baldy or Cue Ball. Imagine replacing that gruesome feeling in your stomach when you see more hair clogging the drain, with the excitement and joy of noticing less and less of that shiny scalp. Your hair is growing strong, thick, and dense, crowning every single inch of your head, turning heads around, leaving all your acquaintances dumbstruck and dead curious about your secret. So let's not waste any more time, because it's time you broke free from the hair loss nightmare. Hi, my name is James Green. I'm 49 years old and I live in a small town near Austin, Texas, with my dear wife Joy and our twin sons. I want you to know right from the beginning that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a clever scientist, nor am I a VIP hairdresser. I'm just a normal guy who works as a pharmacist, and that's a crucial job because people who are in pain really rely on us for relief. Now, you might not know this, but doctors are not experts in drugs and don't always have the time to figure out dosages. See, it's the pharmacist's task to know exactly how a treatment works and to adjust the dosages in order for the medication to be a success and to avoid any harmful counter effects. Every day, we're working with thousands of pills, supplements, and medical cosmetics. We know what's really worth taking and what's a waste of your money. I can tell you right now that not one of the most acclaimed shampoos, foams, and supplements for hair loss do what they advertise. On the contrary, not only did our customers complain of seeing absolutely no results, but some of them are unbelievably dangerous. I should know. I experimented most of them on myself. And that's how I got to the ER in the middle of the night with my scalp on fire, half of my hair gone, and big chunks of red skin falling off of my temples. The following story is incredibly painful for me to tell, but I want to make sure that none of you will ever make the same mistake I did. You see, 4 years ago, my wife and I were on the verge of a divorce. We were both stressed out over the same thing, hair loss. Joy's hair had begun thinning really badly after her second pregnancy, and over the years, it only got worse. There was no hairdresser or haircut in the world that could hide it, so she wore all kinds of hats and scarves that luckily suited her well. My hairline, on the other hand, was receding day by day, and I was clearly balding on the crown of my head, too. I just couldn't understand how my fate could be so cruel. All the men and women in my family had hair like a stallion, thick, strong, dark. I felt like the sad clown of the holiday gathering pictures. It seemed like we were in a shedding horror movie. We got depressed first thing in the morning when we styled our hair, hoping to hide those balding areas. Throughout the day, we were seeing hair all over our clothes, chairs, or rugs. The drain clogged when we were taking a shower. We lived in terror every single minute. And our teenage twins, they sure didn't make it any easier. They joked around that we should start a band called the Baldies. And even though we clearly loved each other, our once steamy sex life felt like a distant memory. We were clearly no longer attracted to one another. The truth was, I really missed her long, wavy blonde curls. And I knew for sure that she had never considered bald guys when it came to dating. We both felt guilty. We should have known better. We were going through the same thing, but guilt really has nothing to do with libido. It was at work where all hell got loose. I had to face clients all day, and I was convinced they were all checking out my balding spots. And you know what? That wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was my colleague Josh. Now, Josh had a glorious full head of hair. I was crushed every time customers chose him over me for medical advice, because I could see that they trusted him more because he was the picture of perfect looks and health. Listen, no matter how you slice it, hair means power and attractiveness. In fact, a survey performed by Johns Hopkins School of Medicine revealed, when it comes to hair, people judge you harshly. Women are 30% less likely to find a balding man attractive, and men are 80% less likely to find a balding woman attractive. Moreover, those stats are representative for all aspects of life. When it comes to baldness, people automatically assume you're 7 years older or more, that you're unsuccessful or boring, and are less likely to take you seriously. It's like you matter less. No wonder the women who were entering our pharmacy barely noticed me, while they were all lingering at Josh's counter, smiling and giggling. Then, one day, my wife dropped by. The second I introduced her to Josh, I saw that sparkle in her eyes. They exchanged pleasantries, and she laughed at every single one of his stupid jokes. She liked him, and I could tell. Imagine that humiliation that I had to endure watching them. I was boiling with fury. That evening at home, We had the biggest fight ever. We screamed for hours until we lost our voices. She accused me of being weak and pathetic, and I told her that maybe she's tired of me and wants to be free for Josh. Maybe we should get a divorce, I yelled. Fine by me, Joy answered. And that's when I cracked and did something crazy. I should have known better. But then again, people tend to lose their common sense when they're desperate. Now, since I worked at a pharmacy, you bet Joy and I have tried just about every single new hair loss product that came in, and our hopes got shattered every single time. Moreover, we spent all our holiday money and the money we didn't have on hair doctors, horrid scalp examinations, and blood tests, just to find out that we have active hair loss or male pattern baldness. Like we didn't know that. In fact, let me save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars right now and tell you the 3 most popular hair loss solutions that are a complete waste of your money, no matter how much doctors recommend them. Number 1, the medically acclaimed solution that works for less than 25% of people who try it. Chances are your doctor will recommend foam shampoo with 2% for women or 5% for men minoxidil. Even if you're among the lucky few that do see results, it might just slow down your hair loss, but won't do much to regrow what's already fallen out. Now, if you're thinking, well, that's still worth it, well, think again. Here are just some of the commonly encountered side effects: severe scalp irritation, face redness, debilitating headaches, chest pain, and get this, rapid weight gain. Worse, while women might experience unwanted growth of facial hair, 92% of men developed erectile dysfunction during a test. But here's the most alarming part. That foam shampoo can actually cause more hair loss the first 4 to 6 weeks. Now, this happens because some of the old hairs are being pushed out to make place for the new ones. Now, I don't know about you, but I surely wouldn't want to look even worse for 2 to 3 whole months before some new hairs will maybe grow back. And what if you end up being part of the 75% of people who the foam shampoo doesn't work for? Plus, it costs approximately $50 per month. And once you start, you can never stop using it, or else your hair loss will come back like nothing happened. Let's do some math here. If you're around 40, let's say you'll use this for another 45 years. You'll spend at least $27,000 just on foam shampoo, all while hoping the side effects won't wear you down. Number 2, the holy grail that makes your hair look worse than before. I'm talking about hair replacement surgery. Insurance calls hair transplant cosmetic, so you're on your own when it comes to costs. The price? Around $10,000. And everyone knows that healthcare costs are only going up. Now, let's say you do have the money. No one in their right mind would recommend this surgery after going through it. First of all, you'll be in tormenting pain for several weeks afterwards. Secondly, you'll never be able to hide it from anyone. It's going to be clear as daylight what you did. And when everyone knows what you've done, you're going to be prone to even more jokes. And third, this surgery rarely looks good. Plus, how badly will it look when your hairline keeps receding back past the hair transplant? Because the surgery doesn't guarantee your hair won't keep on thinning, leaving you with an awkward island of hair right on your crown. And last but not least, the cure that only creates very expensive urine. Now, there are many supplements out there with many ingredients and vitamins that claim to regrow hair. It's true that some plants and vitamins are a true blessing for hair growth, as you're about to see, but not when it comes to how big pharma makes business. You might find advanced formula bottles in health food stores or pharmacies, but I can tell you for sure those supplies skimp on their quality control and dilute the concentration just to make more profits. Now, this means that you'll never get the quantity you need for actual visible results. In fact, as the president of the Australian Medical Association, Michael Gannon, put it, if that's what you want to do and you want to give some profits to the companies that produce those products, well, good on you. That's not what I want to do. Knowing all of this, I must have been out of my mind when, after that fight I had with Joy, I decided to double the quantity of one of those famous foam shampoos, apply it on my scalp, and go to sleep. I'm a pharmacist, for God's sake. How could I ever think that was a good idea, considering all the chemicals they put in? I woke up 1/2 hour past midnight and felt my scalp burning. I turned on the lights and saw my pillow full of hair. When I looked into the mirror, oh man, I had the shock of my life. Big chunks of red skin with hair were dropping off my temples. My face was freakishly swollen, with enormous dark circles surrounding my puffy eyes. And an unbearable itch was driving me insane. I couldn't speak, move, or even think. And luckily for me, Joy woke up and drove me to the ER. I must have looked like a mutant. Everyone stared at me in horror as the ER chief blurted out, "Now I've seen it all." My wife was crying her heart out, and my 2 sons could barely look in my direction. It took one whole excruciating hour, 1 doctor, and 3 nurses just to clean up my mess. The next few days, my family didn't exchange more than 3 words with me. Now, since our son's graduation was coming, I thought the ceremony would give me the opportunity to bond with my family again. So when I heard, "Dad, everyone at school found out what happened. Please don't show up. You're ugly and you're going to embarrass both of us," I hit rock bottom. "I hope you both lose your hair like I did," I shouted. And trust me, to this day, I regret every single word. I'll never forgive myself. Even though my kind-hearted Joy insisted I wear a cap and go to the high school graduation with them, I stayed home. But I knew that I couldn't stay locked up in the house forever. I had to do something. No way was I going to watch how our marriage, our whole family was falling apart. I had to find a solution that could make us walk with our heads held high once again. So I got in front of the computer and I started my quest. I was determined to find a remedy that didn't require any big pharma products, because I knew for sure they did nothing except drain the life and health right out of you. There was one question in particular that kept haunting me. Why was I the only one in my entire family suffering from hair loss? So I went on analyzing tens of articles about hair loss and genetics. I couldn't believe my eyes when I discovered the baldness gene was considered a myth by the medical world. According to a 2017 paper, scientists found that out of 290 genetic predictors of alopecia, none guarantee you'll go bald. It was clear that hair loss was not hereditary. If hair loss is genetic, how come scientists have never discovered a baldness gene? I had to search for the root cause somewhere else, so I kept on digging through studies, medical books, and experiments. I'm going to spare you all the boring details and cut directly to the interesting parts. Listen, as weird as this may sound, hair loss does not start with your hair falling. Permanent hair loss is caused by something else. This #1 culprit of pattern baldness sneaks up on you until it's too late, and it's a lot more dangerous than hair falling. The gradual retreat of hair away from the forehead in a distinctive M shape, or the hair loss from the crown of your head that eventually spreads into a distinctive, ridiculous horseshoe, actually starts with your roots and hair thinning. That's right. A part of your hair is silently thinning every day until it vanishes, which explains why sometimes bald patches seem to develop overnight. But why is the hair thinning in the first place? What most hair experts know is this. Hair grows from a tiny root or follicle underneath the skin. Each follicle should go through a normal hair growth cycle. Phase 1, shedding, that's when the hair falls out. And Phase 2, growth or regrowth. Your hair is supposed to fall out. The worrying part is not that it falls. An individual strand of hair normally lives between 2 and 4 years. Then, once it dies, the follicle sheds it and grows another hair. So, what's going on when your hair falls out and doesn't grow back? Many doctors will say, genetics, shrug their shoulders and tell you there's nothing you can do. But it's not genetics. We now know there is no such thing as a balding gene. What I managed to discover is something most medical experts have never even heard about. When it comes to hair loss and hair thinning, your body might be in none of these 2 phases. It might be in a 3rd phase, one that puts everything on hold. Want to see if you're in it? Well, this simple home test shows you what's really happening to your hair right now. Look again at the pictures below. Do you recognize yourself in any of the pictures above? If yes, your hair is blocked in the baby phase. This happens because your follicles are clogged. Basically, your hair gets born, but cannot make it properly through the skin to grow. To put it simply, it doesn't have enough space. It becomes thinner, shorter, more fragile, and brittle, until it's almost invisible, or can't get through at all. Incapable of developing normally, part of it falls prematurely. Dandruff, greasy hair, and scalp peels are also an effect of clogged hair. But what exactly blocks your hair and clogs your follicles? Prepare to learn about the silent killer found in the body of 93% of Americans, and buckle up for what you're about to hear, because you're going to get mad. In 2015, a unique public testing project was carried out by a laboratory at the University of California, San Francisco, or UCSF. This one-of-a-kind project was supported by members of the public, folks like you and I, who paid for their urine and water samples themselves to be analyzed for specific chemical residues. The chemical they were fearing was glyphosate, which is the most used herbicide in the world. Glyphosate was first introduced in the year 1970, the same year that doctors decided to draw a balding scale in order to diagnose the rapidly growing number of balding cases. Coincidence? Not really. Scientists believe that once you come in contact with these chemicals, they enter your bloodstream and disrupt all body functions. They imitate the effects of hormones such as estrogen and testosterone, essential for your hair and clogged follicles. When the results of the test came in, people were scandalized. Glyphosate was discovered in 93% of the urine and water samples provided by Americans. Over 9 billion pounds of pesticides are used in the U.S. alone each year, and they were using them in 2015, and they're using them even more now. These endocrine disruptors are in every bite we take and in every sip of water we drink. And it's not just plants, vegetables, and fruits that are affected. Meat is toxic too. Animals are fed corn or grass that have been treated with the same chemicals. The incidence of pattern hair loss has increased during this time too, both in men and women. Men are losing their hair earlier than in past generations. Also, evidence suggests that female pattern hair loss is a growing problem. Is this just coincidence? I hardly think so. And sadly, this isn't even the most worrying part. Exposure to these endocrine disruptive chemicals is linked to a staggering number of health problems, including low libido, low energy, infertility, impaired memory, and weight gain, which explained why the people coming into my pharmacy and complaining about hair loss were also experiencing low sex drive, constant tiredness, or brain fog. After putting all the information together, I was happy, sad, and confused at the same time. On the one hand, there was good news. Even though my hair was currently blocked, it still existed, and it was just waiting to be released. All I had to do was to unclog my follicles and set it free. On the other hand, what was clogging my hair was in every vegetable, fruit, meat, or can of food. What was I going to do to get rid of it? Stop eating and drinking? I was stuck. But there must be a higher power up there, because just a few days later, I found out something that made everything fall into place. Even though I wasn't in the mood, I went to a pharmacological congress just to take a break from the tensions at home. My scalp hadn't fully healed yet, and since I was afraid someone I knew might see me, and since the long speeches were a little tedious, I decided to sneak outside and take a walk. On my way, I saw a group of 5 men entering a building nearby. And what caught my eye was that 3 of them had perfectly shaved heads, while 2 of them had long, dark tails of hair and beards. To this day, I can't explain why, but I just had to follow them. As it turns out, all of them were monks attending a Buddhist gathering. And since nobody objected to me being there, although I clearly didn't belong there with my business suit and leather suitcase, I plucked up my courage and took a seat next to an old shaved monk, dressed in a bright orange robe. The ceremony opening was out of the ordinary. Remember the men with thick black hair and dense beards? 7 of them were shaved right on the stage. I was so curious that I couldn't refrain myself from asking the wise monk next to me what was the meaning of the ritual. Shaving is a sign of devotion and humility before joining the community of missionary monks that travel all over the world in order to do good. Funny thing, the old wise man continued, all of us need to shave more often because of the foti. Foti? What was that? During the break, we carried on our conversation. For the first time in months, I felt that I could finally open up to someone without being judged. I told him my entire story and how I almost destroyed my scalp, my health, and my family. The monk kept quiet all through my confession. Then he smiled kindly, pulled out a bag filled with dry herbs, and poured half of it into a napkin. "Take this, and you will be well again." The herbal mixture, he said, was a sacred gift from the great and adored Lee Chang-yun, a legend of a man who, according to a 1930 article from the New York Times, reportedly lived to be 256 years old. Yes, this 256-year-old man thrived on a diet based mainly on 3 herbs. Lee Chang-yun began his career at just 10 years old as a herbalist, learning everything about thousands of medicinal herbs and their healing powers. He must have discovered something close to the fountain of youth along the way because at the age of 71 in 1749, he joined the Chinese army as a martial arts instructor. You wouldn't think that a grandpa would be able to engage in such a physically grueling activity, but Lee was in far superior shape than his younger trainees. He was a beloved member of his community and reportedly married 23 times, fathering around 200 children. Despite Big Pharma's efforts to bury any evidence about Lee's existence and his inexpensive rituals for a diseaseless life, in 1928, Professor Wu Chung-che of Chengdu University discovered documentation congratulating Lee on his 150th birthday in 1827, and even more documents congratulating him on his 200th birthday in 1877. My jaw dropped when I heard that supposedly our herbalist wasn't even the oldest man that he knew. One of his disciples claimed that Lee once met a 500-year-old man that showed him a special herb-rich diet that can help people stay young well into old age and keep their body intact. When traveling around the world on their missions, monks noticed that their hair was not growing anymore and that their body was weak. Nevertheless, shaving their head is a sacred ritual, so they needed their hair to keep growing strong. That's why they always had Lee Chu-wen remedy with them. And as long as they took this modern world antidote, well, they felt like newborns. But there was a small side effect. Their hair grew a lot faster, and they had to shave their head more often, but nobody complained. Clearly, something is not right with the modern world's food and drinks, the monk concluded. Well, I was sure of that. How else can we explain why people who live isolated in tribes or small communities don't have hair loss problems? After thanking the old monk for taking his time to share with me his ancient remedy and exchanging email addresses, I couldn't wait to go home and try the blend. I had to take 1 spoon every day with a big glass of water. Now, in the beginning, I didn't notice anything different, except maybe that I had more energy, which was still a really great thing. But soon, the redness of my scalp had completely vanished. But the best was yet to come, because not long after I started using this blend, I could see small black dots on my forehead. Could that be new hair? You bet it was. It wasn't a lot, but it was in places that have been deserted for years. I almost broke my neck running to the laptop. I immediately opened up my email and wrote to the wise monk. I even sent him a picture. I begged him to tell me what the sacred mixture was made of. So I sent him my research, all the data about glyphosate, everything. I was on pins and needles for 3 whole weeks before I finally got an answer. As it turns out, the Buddhist monk had been on a long trip through Nepal with no access to the internet. I'll be forever in his debt for every single word I read. Not only did he unveil the 3 plants of Lee Chu-yen's sacred formula, but he also added 4 new natural cleansers for more strength and vigor gathered by the Buddhist monks on their pilgrimage. So I got to work immediately. I checked every ingredient on the list. All of them were linked to countless studies and benefits. There was no exception. I want you to know every single one of them, starting with the Sacred Hair Trio. Or the three godlike plants on which Li Chuyin, the 256-year-old herbalist, thrived. The same plants that the Buddhist monks took as a modern world antidote. The most effective one is a plant called Foti. Now, a large study was conducted on 507 participants to observe the effects of Foti on hair loss. After collecting and analyzing their data, the researchers found 95% of the subjects noticed that issues with excessive shedding had stopped. 77% of the participants experienced significantly reduced hair loss. 90% of the men and women saw their balding spots noticeably shrinking. Just to paint a picture, that's the difference between this and this. Scientists were stunned, so they launched more studies to verify these hair-restoring results. In another study performed on 24 men and 24 women between the ages of 30 and 60, 91% of the men and 87% of the women started experiencing significant improvements after just a couple of weeks of taking Foti orally. A group of researchers even thought about comparing it with the well-known minoxidil. They isolated different compounds of Foti and compared their performance to the minoxidil. The results of Foti surpassed those of the most popular solution for hair growth today. It also produces the longest growth after a treatment period of just a couple of weeks. This plant's benefits go beyond hair growth. Foti is also known as He Shou Wu, and it translates to the black-haired Mr. He. It was named this due to the youth-restoring effects it had on Mr. He, the one who discovered the herb. Eventually, his hair color returned, almost magically shifting from gray to a rich, lustrous black. Now, if you don't believe in legends, that's fine, but there's a handful of clinical reports that prove a remarkable activity to restore rich color to white or graying hair. Foti also has a long history of use for healthy aging, high libido and virility, and strong immune system. Besides, it's been found to work particularly well, especially if you're over 50. The second member of the trio is a miracle fruit for the scalp that can also undo the damage done to hair cells. You may have heard of goji berries before. Their effect is amazing when it comes to stabilizing the blood flow and blood circulation through the scalp and supporting the cells responsible for increasing hair length. Among others, goji berry is a fantastic ally when it comes to burning fat and weight loss. The third plant of the trio is a medicinal leaf that acts as a follicle reconstructor. I'm talking about Gotu kola. This herb deeply nourishes hair follicles, adds volume, and improves natural shine. More importantly, when compared to 8 other treatments, Gotu kola showed the greatest increase in hair density. Next on the Wise Monks list was a mix of 3 extremely powerful detoxifiers that had the power to clear the entire body of chemicals, like glyphosate, while unclogging follicles, pores, and even arteries. I named it the Seaweed Detox Force. First, noriyaki, a dark green algae, is one of the richest sources of iodine. Now, iodine is a potent disinfectant. It destroys bacteria and flushes the hair-damaging free radicals caused by chemicals and pesticides. Hair loss has been directly associated with iodine deficiency because this mineral is crucial for regulating hormones. Next in line, wakame, considered one of the healthiest sea vegetables out there, full of minerals that deeply feed your hair. Specialists call it the free radical scavenger. It finds the most hidden chemical substances in your body and mercilessly wipes them out. Last but not least, bladderwrack, a metabolism-boosting seaweed that's been used medicinally for centuries, especially for digestion. It's no wonder it's been proven to eliminate excess fluid retention, and by doing so, toxins buildup. I couldn't believe how potent those ingredients were, yet not a single doctor or hair expert had ever mentioned them to me or Joy. At that point, you bet I was obsessed not only to regain my hair back forever and revive my marriage, but also help the millions of innocent people who were giving their last pennies to fat cats and their risky, good-for-nothing hair growth kits. While I was at it, I could improve the formula with modern science and technology. I decided to add 2 more ultimate blends in order to amplify the effects of the sacred plants and make it the ultimate mix, both more effective and 100% safe for any medical condition. That being said, I got to work immediately. After adjusting the dosages, I added the VIP Lab Mix: keratin, collagen, and hyaluronic acid. Now, these are the 3 ingredients that celebrities use the most to protect their youthful hair and skin, and for good reason. Keratin is the protein that makes up 90% of your hair. Collagen is the glue that keeps this keratin together. Basically, this blend makes sure that your body has enough raw material to build up lots of new hair once the follicles are unclogged. Hyaluronic acid, which has been found by researchers to improve skin aspect by 96%, has the unique ability to rebuild and smooth out every inch of the skin of your scalp. Now, for the final touch, 10 star vitamins to fully support the body through the entire detox process and repair any damage done by glyphosate or other chemicals. Vitamins B5, B6, and B7 for tonified clear skin and high energy levels. Calcium for bone strength and density. Vitamin E for strong eyes and good-looking nails. Zinc and vitamin C for a rock-solid immune system. Selenium for hormonal balance. Copper for lean muscle mass and cardiovascular health. And manganese for blood sugar control. Once I was done, I just couldn't believe my eyes. The formula was a work of art. But my enthusiasm was curbed by a new problem. If I were to produce it myself, I'd have to spend days trying to source the purest ingredients from all over the world, and thousands of dollars to buy them. Then I'd have to take weeks to extract the sacred seeds, leaves, and essences. At the end, I had to dry them out, grind them down, and adjust the ratios. The result? I would have enough of the mixture to last for about a week or so. I needed a plan B. I thought that if I bought the ingredients in bulk and contacted a large, modern, yet discreet manufacturing facility in the USA that could take care of everything, I could produce this potent mixture in the quantity I wanted and in tiny, easy-to-swallow capsules. That's when I started our chase for manufacturing facilities. I had one non-negotiable request. The ingredients needed to be the real thing. Pure, sourced from local growers that use no glyphosate, herbicides, or pesticides. 100% effective, prepared the right way in order to keep their properties intact. And safe, processed under strict sterile standards with regularly disinfected equipment. You would not believe how many counterfeits are on the market. I remember I jumped for joy when I found a facility that was both FDA registered and GMP certified. They had a high-level disinfection policy to keep any germs or viruses at bay. And since the proprietary blend is 100% natural, I didn't have to wait for approval to make our first batch. All I needed was one more willing patient beside me to test it. And that patient was Joy. All she had to do was take one vegetable capsule every day with a big glass of water. She was rather skeptical at first, and at that point, pretty annoyed with my scientific adventures, and really, who could blame her? But since she knew I invested every penny I had to produce the first batch of plant-filled capsules, she agreed to at least try it out. In the beginning, nothing happened. She wasn't seeing anything special. She puffed, "Waste of time," and asked me when we were going to file for that divorce. But I begged her to continue. I showed her over and over again how my bald spot kept shrinking. Soon, there was a glimpse of hope. Her hair had stopped falling. Joy wasn't impressed, though. On the other hand, I was thrilled. No more hairs on my pillow and more puffy strands making their way out. Then, something amazing happened. Tens, even hundreds of strands were showing up every morning. She didn't want to talk much about it because she didn't want to jinx it. But surprisingly enough, soon Joy's hair really began flourishing. Wonderfully thick, luxuriant hair was sprouting all over her head. It was the same for me. There was no trace of balding spots. More than half of my gray hairs were gone, and the color was definitely darker. My bangs had grown out, for God's sake. I ran my hands through my new crown and glory several times a day just to see what would happen. Nothing. My follicles were cemented. The 3rd of September is the day I'll never forget. Joy came into the room holding a comb in her hand. She sat in front of me and brushed for 5 minutes straight. Not a single strand fell out. I was mesmerized. Her wavy curls were 4 inches longer. When she put all her scarves and hats in a garbage bag, we both started to cry tears of joy. That very day, we went to the hairdresser to celebrate. That feeling of having your hair cut, washed, and styled without shame or fear is priceless. The stylist even congratulated us both for taking such good care. No dandruff, strong roots, volume, a very rare package. When we got home, we went straight to the bedroom, and we had the most passionate night. It was like a sex marathon. Our energy and libido were through the roof. We had broken the curse of hair loss. You bet we wanted to get this formula into the hands of as many people as possible. But 2 people wasn't exactly proof that it worked. If it worked for us, would it work for everyone? We needed to test it on more people who suffered from glyphosate poisoning and hair falling, people whose bodies were screaming at that very moment, "Help!" They had to be dealing with balding for at least 1 year. If they had tried all sorts of solutions with no success, the better. After going through my list of clients at the pharmacy, we had a total of 60 people ready to embark on our experiment. The results were greater than our wildest dreams. Without exception, and within a few weeks, all 50 volunteers reported dramatic improvements. Their hair loss had slowed way down, and all were seeing an increased number of thick hairs on their head, while their bald areas were starting to fill. A lot of them saw a decrease in gray hairs, wrinkles, and skin stains. Their bodies felt brand new too. Our subjects were experiencing bursts of energy and a skyrocketing libido. No anxiety or brain fog, no digestive problems, and no headaches. A few even claimed they lost weight, which was quite an unexpected side effect. We received email, messages, and phone calls. All of our volunteers were overwhelmed and kept asking for more of our plant-based Wonder Capsules. It was clear as daylight that we had a mission. So, we created a clinically proven and all-natural supplement that will allow you to target the real root cause of baldness, completely clear your body of chemicals, and break the baby hair phase in order to get a full head of hair. We called it Hairfortin, the only 100% natural blend that addresses the root cause of hair loss, clogged follicles. We've sourced the purest, highest quality 28 plant extracts and vitamins. For example, we use only properly prepared Foti coming from a great mountain source. Now, this Foti is allowed to grow in the wild for no less than 8 years before it's collected. No chemicals of any sort ever touch it. In commerce, you'll find only 1 to 2-year-old Foti, often filled with herbicides. Every capsule is manufactured in the USA, in our FDA-approved and GMP-certified facility, under sterile, strict, and precise standards. We are regularly disinfecting the equipment used to process the ingredients and package our supplements. Hairfortin capsules are non-GMO and safe. They don't contain any dangerous stimulants or toxins, and they are not habit-forming. And even though regenerating your hair with Hairfortin is as easy as ABC, the formula is more powerful than any shampoo or surgery on the planet. Because it doesn't only grow thick strands on every inch of your scalp, it also improves your health from head to toe without you having to lift a finger. 172,537 people have already transformed their looks and bodies inside and out with Hairfortin. Here's what Thomas F., aged 42, from Lexington, Kentucky, wrote to say. Both me and my wife experienced hair loss. It was incredibly hard for me, but I could tell that for her it was devastating. She said she didn't feel like a woman anymore. Our marriage was in a rut. I could feel the pitying looks everybody gave us when we went out together. Now, after 7 hellish years, it's like we're born again. I've just ordered 12 more bottles. Thomas F., 42, from Lexington, Kentucky. Or listen to Jason from Frankfort, Kentucky, who said, "It's an ugly thing to say, but when I started losing my hair, it felt like I was losing a limb. I was constantly checking other men to see how dense their hair was, and I had nightmares where my wife and her friends were laughing at me because I was a pitty little man." Pretty crazy, I know. Thank God I'm not like that anymore. The best thing, I have a lot less gray hairs. How about that? Jason T., 50, from Frankfort, Kentucky. And here's what Carrie Stain from Massachusetts said. When I saw in the bathroom mirror my shiny scalp under the light, my heart began pounding, and one time I even had a terrible panic attack. After that, I avoided meeting people as much as I could, while living in constant fear that my husband would leave me. I was about to order a wig when I finally came across Hairfortin and tried it out of desperation. I can't believe the torture is finally over. The sensation of proudly flaunting your hair and combing it without being scared is priceless. Carrie Stain, 48, Quincy, Massachusetts. There you have it, real folks sharing real stories. All you have to do in order to achieve the same dramatic improvements in your looks is to start using it as soon as possible. The solution is much simpler than you'd think. And you can get access to everything in the next 90 seconds. If you're ready to give up the burden of hair loss and bring excitement, energy, and satisfaction back into your life, if you're ready to say yes to this big change, you first need to ask yourself, how much is it worth it to you to be in full control of the way you look and feel? No fears, no health risks, and all your backbiters jealous, begging for your secrets. Just take a second. Imagine how much that would be worth. $100,000? $10,000? $5,000. Even though Josh and the other colleagues at the pharmacy recommended I sell a 30-day supply of Hairfortin for no less than $997, considering the 2 years of research, work, and tests that I've invested in it, and even though my dear Joy suggested $597, seeing how she's a whole new person now, and while our local herb growers would have asked for $397 just for the high quality of the ingredients, and even though many of the 172,537 people who got to experience Hairfortin said they would gladly pay triple, this isn't about the money for me. I'll never forget what I felt when I woke up in the middle of the night with my face all swollen and half of what was left of my hair gone. The tears in my wife's eyes, how everyone in the ER room thought I was a total freak. Nor will I forget the pain when my 2 sons asked me not to come to their graduation. I never want anyone to feel as helpless as I did, and that's why I'll never ask for $597 or $397 or even half of that. I just want to cover the costs of the ingredients and keep this site running for as long as I can. Now, even though I'll have to charge $99 for 1 bottle of Hairfortin soon, which is still less than 3 months of worthless hair loss shampoos, pills, or treatments, and certainly a lot less than a hair implant, the fact that you gave me your trust and stayed with me all through this presentation means a lot. You can get a 30-day supply of Hairfortin for a one-time fee of just $69. That's right, just $69. Before you order, one last thing. After thoroughly researching all the ingredients of Hairfortin and running a lot of tests, I recommend you take this supplement for at least 90 days. On the one hand, it's about giving your body enough time to process and take full advantage of all the plant extracts and steadily grow a full head of healthy hair. On the other hand, Hairfortin is selling incredibly fast, and once it's sold out, it's going to take us at least 6 to 9 months to produce a new batch. Not only because we're accepting only the purest ingredients, but also because when an ingredient is clinically proven to work so well, like Foti, big pharmaceutical companies buy up all the supplies of this plant and pretend it's for research purposes. They offer such a high price for it that it's creating an artificial shortage. Only a few farms grow Foti, even fewer grow it without using chemicals. And most of them are filling their pockets right now thanks to pharma companies buying up all of their crops. You might find it in bottles in a health food store, but those supplies aren't pure, or they skimp on quality control to make up for their lost profits from the high ingredient cost. Of course, we're committed to support you every way that we can, so we're going to let you order a batch of 3 bottles or 6 bottles for a huge discount. If you say yes in the next 30 minutes, we're going to make the deal even sweeter. You'll get a special free bonus. It's called Hairfortin Age Stop. We want you to grow ageless hair full of color and luster, and make sure no obstacle, not even time, will stand in your way. So, in order for you to have every tool you need for great hair and skin, we created this 100% natural blend to significantly slow down the visible effects of aging, like multiplying gray, frizzy hairs or sagging skin, wrinkles, and spots. The main ingredient is the royal plant Andrographis paniculata that can stop and even turn back the clock on your cells and give your new hair and skin a youthful vitality. If you buy 3 bottles of Hairfortin right now, you get a 30-day supply of the Hairfortin Age Stop worth $89 for free. Or let me cut you an even better deal. Buy 6 bottles of Hairfortin and you'll get 2 bottles of the Hairfortin Age Stop worth $179 absolutely free. Plus, with every order made today, in addition to the free bonuses, you also get free shipping. How does that sound? Take a look below. Once you order, you'll be taken to a secure checkout page. Just fill in your payment details using a credit card, debit card, or PayPal. Immediately after you fill in your information and confirm your order, your bottle of Hairfortin will be shipped for free right to your doorstep, inside a sterile and disinfected package. If you order the 3 bottles or 6 bottles package, which we recommend, as we estimate we'll run out of stock anytime soon, we'll also send you your free bottle of Hairfortin Age Stop. Just click below to select your package. Your order today is a one-time payment with no subscription or hidden charges. All you need to keep in mind is that Hairfortin can be found only on this page. It isn't available for purchase anywhere else. This is your only chance to grab this exclusive formula. Once again, Hairfortin is selling very fast. And once it's sold out, it'll take us 3 to 6 months to restock on the chemical-free rare ingredients and produce another batch. In the meantime, we're getting threats from the hair loss industry giants, and risking your family's safety isn't something that you can do for a long time. Make your choice below. If you're skeptical, I totally get you. You've tried a lot of methods. You've spent a lot of money, and nothing's worked. I am so confident that Hairfortin works that I'm going to give you our ironclad 60-day money-back guarantee. If you don't experience any dramatic improvement, or you're not content for any reason whatsoever, we'll issue a full refund, no questions asked. All you need to do is contact us within the first 60 days from your purchase. It doesn't matter if you used up the entire bottle, we'll still give you your money back. This means that you have 2 whole months to decide if Hairfortin is for you or not. No hidden fees or subscriptions, just a safe and secure one-time simple payment. Choose the package you want below. Listen, when you think about it, you really only have 2 choices ahead of you right now. Option 1. Stop following this presentation and leave this page. Do nothing. Keep going the way you are now. Afraid to look in the mirror and see how your hair keeps thinning and falling, and your bald spots keep growing. Always feeling that everyone's staring at your shiny scalp, feeling sorry for you, or even cracking jokes behind your back. All this while fewer people see you as attractive. Even your spouse might find it hard to find you desirable, and it's not even their fault. Our brains are biologically programmed to judge attractiveness based on our crowning glory. If you keep letting your problems get worse, your self-doubt will grow day after day, dragging you into a depression and facing low energy. Option 2. Risk nothing at all today. Grab Hairfortin right now, and you'll be surprised at how well it works, and at how strong and dense your hair can be. So just click below to make your choice, enter your payment details on our secure order form, and place the order now. We'll immediately ship your bottles directly to your home. Remember, every 3 and 6 month package comes with a free 1 or 2 month supply of our pioneering Hairfortin Age Stop formula, worth $89 a bottle. And every order comes with free and secure shipping, no matter where you live. I can't wait for you to experience every single benefit that Hairfortin has to offer. Still here? Great. I wanted to take a second and answer the most common questions I get about Hairfortin. I just want to make sure that you feel 100% comfortable with your decision to order today. 1. How do I know Hairfortin will work for me? As breakthrough testing has shown, balding is caused by clogged follicles due to the chemicals that are sprayed over crops and present in every bite of food and every sip of water that we take. 93% of Americans tested positive for glyphosate, the most used herbicide. There's a very high chance that you have it in your system too. Hairfortin has been created to wipe up any trace of chemicals and toxins in your body. Remember, FOTI and the ingredients of the blends are all backed by hundreds of clinical studies. They combine sacred plants with modern medicine and technology, and they've helped hundreds of thousands of people around the world already. My wife and I have personally seen how much they can help even after years of hair loss. 2. Is Hairfortin safe? Hairfortin has been designed for all ages and medical conditions in order to naturally support your body's hair growth system. Hairfortin has high-quality natural ingredients, manufactured in an FDA-approved facility under sterile, strict, and precise standards. Each of the ingredients that goes into Hairfortin is tested for purity and to ensure against toxins and contaminants. As always, if you currently have a medical condition or you're taking other prescription medication, we advise you to show a bottle of this supplement to your doctor before you take it, just to put your mind at ease. 3. Can you tell me about the guarantee again? The more results we see, the stronger we believe Hairfortin has the power to completely regenerate your hair. It's true, though, that nothing works for 100% of the people who try it, as each body works in its own way. And that's why every bottle of Hairfortin comes with an ironclad 60-day money-back guarantee. If, for any reason, you aren't fully satisfied with the results, you can just return what you haven't used for a full, no-questions-asked refund. 4. How long will this supplement be available to the public? Well, I'm not really sure, but history has shown us that the hair loss industry isn't afraid to spend millions of dollars in legal fees to remove something that threatens its very existence. I mean, if you think about it, that makes sense. Wouldn't you spend $1 million in lawyer costs to protect the $3.2 billion per year you make? 5. How many bottles should I order? Now, we recommend ordering the largest amount so you can stock up. Remember, when an ingredient is clinically proven to work, like FOTI, Big Pharma usually buys up all the supplies to protect their sales. Moreover, Hairfortin is selling very fast. It can take up to 9 months before we can resupply. Ordering the largest amount is also the best deal for you. We've set it up so you save more than 30% over the one-bottle option. Plus, our no-questions-asked money-back guarantee is valid no matter how many bottles you order, so there's no risk in stocking up. So all you have to do today is click below, fill in your payment details on our secure order form, and submit your order. I can't wait to hear your success story.